right, colored pens up. And good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. You may notice by the title of today's lesson that things are a little bit different, so let me give you a quick overview. For the next 4 weeks, approximately, things will be a little bit different. The structure will be similar every day, and it will be similar to what we've done throughout the year, with a couple of major changes that I'll talk about in a little while. There will always be a warm-up. You guys did a great job so far. The warm-ups will continue to be challenging. They are supposed to be. They're supposed to stretch your mind. You're supposed to work hard. It's okay if you get things wrong. The key is, what do you do after you get it wrong? If you just sit there and say, okay, I got it wrong, and that's it, that's one approach. The other approach is, what can you do to understand where you went wrong so next time you can do a little bit better? And that's really the idea and the focus. Okay? So let's start with the answers, and then we're going to work on method. Number 1, what did you get for the cost of the haircut? We will start with Chanel, Briante, Isabella, and then Caesar. $14. You agree with her? Okay. Caesar? Seems to be more support for $14. The correct answer is $14. Number 2, the real question was part C. So I'm going to actually start there. I would like to know the length and the width of the rectangle. And then I'm going to fill in the other ones. Length and width of the rectangle. Start with Garion, Michael, Kianis, Sebastian.
The length of a single side is 17 meters, and the width of a single side is 7 meters.
Okay, what did you think? So you agree. Okay, Kianis?
For the length, I got 25.5, and then for the width, I got 22.
Okay, so we got some different answers. Okay, so different answers. I got 2 people who agreed, but then I got 2 other answers besides them. Anyone want to chime in with theirs? What'd you get, Michaela? Which I think is what you said and what you had said. And those are the correct measurements. The width is 7 and the length is 17, and we're talking about meters. Now let me go back to A and B. Here was my picture. And your picture didn't have to be exact, although pretty much should have looked similar to this. I was even more impressed with my students who actually filled in all 4 sides, which is what Sebastian is going to realize, and some other students are going to realize, that you have to include all 4 sides. We'll talk about that in a moment. Part B, I asked you to write an equation. There's quite a few different equations you could have written. Here was the simplest way to write it. It looks complicated, but it actually makes perfect sense, and I'll elaborate in a moment. Now, I could have asked this question, and on the FCAT it will be asked differently. I could have asked it like this. I could have left this part out, and I could have just asked you to tell me the length and the width of the rectangle. And some of you would have been successful and some of you wouldn't. I broke it down step by step because I'm trying to remind you of what we have studied in the past, which is that drawing the picture really is the work. Once you draw the picture, the rest should fall into place. If you got 15 and 33 as your answer, you missed one detail. The detail you missed was the fact that the other side of the rectangle and the other sides of the rectangle had to be included because we're talking about perimeter. Perimeter is the distance all the way around. So Sebastian, if I'm not mistaken, your equation looks just like this, except you're missing a 2w plus 3 and another w. Is that correct? And anyone else who got 15 and 33 unfortunately had the same issue, but that's easy to resolve. That's just a detail thing to look for, okay? So now, Kianis and who else? There was someone else who had shared their answer. Oh, it was Sebastian. Kianis, do you know where you went wrong?
Yeah, it's just that I didn't include the other two sides.
You also didn't include the sides. Then you must have also made a mistake as you were solving.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. But again, did you have a picture that looked similar to mine? So that's a huge part of it. Huge part of it. So you're this close to figuring it out, okay? Any comments, questions about number 2? Concerns or issues? Okay, let's take a look at number 1. Give me a thumbs up if you got it right. Good. Kivan, how'd you do it?
So I took 456 and I subtracted the $64, which is the tips.
Okay.
And then I got me $392.
Okay.
Then I divided that by 28 and I got 14.
There's a lot of you who got this right. Give me a thumbs up if that's how you did it. Good. Almost everybody. Excellent. Put your thumbs down. Danae, I forgot if you had put your thumb up before, but it doesn't matter. Did you try to do it this way or did you do a different method?
No, I did it that way. At first I did something different and I got it wrong.
How'd you know you got it wrong when you did it the first way?
Because I didn't know I didn't read that right, the 64 and tip part right.
Yeah.
I thought it was like something different, like that's what he got first, and then he got 456 the second time. So like I did something different. That's how
You did it. You were trying to fit it into a proportion, right? Yeah, and then you realized that it wasn't a proportional situation and then you did something different? Good for you. Good. Okay. So this also was, question number 2 was an equation question. Question number 1 was actually an equation. Most of you who agreed with Kivan's method really did an equation, you just didn't write the equation. So I just want to make sure that I refresh your memory on how we put these things together. The first thing that I've asked you to look for from the beginning of the year, what was it? First thing I always ask you to look for. Yudesh? Total. Is there a total in this question? What is it? Yeah, 456 is the total. And what I taught you a long time ago is if you just stick the total to the right of the equal sign, that's a good way to start. Now the rest is putting together the pieces. The problem with this question is I really messed with you. Because I flip-flopped the words. We're used to the flat fee being a number, right? But then I write, the barber charges a flat rate for haircuts. And that's missing. So that's actually not the flat fee or the flat number. In this case, and most of you figured it out, the flat fee or the flat number was the 64. That's the flat number. And the rate was often a money in the questions we did in the past. In this case, the rate was not money. The rate was actually the number of customers. And this was the missing piece. So this was really a reading issue. It was really a heavy reading issue. Once you put all this together, you end up with this. 28x plus 64 equals 456. And the steps you take are subtract 64, divide by 28, which is what you ended up doing anyway if you followed Kivan's method. Any comments, questions, or concerns about any of this? Okay. So, here's where lessons are going to start being a little bit different. So, everyone follow along with me. Today I will explain in more detail, but then after today you will just be able to understand. First of all, we always draw a line when we're done with a section to denote that we're going to the next section. For the next 4 weeks, approximately, notes and classwork will be smushed together into one section, and it's going to be different. You won't have any new concepts, really. You won't have new vocabulary. But we will be learning some new techniques and some new ideas. And instead of it being, okay, we do some notes and some examples, and then I let you practice, it's going to be, you're going to do a little practice, then we're going to learn a little bit. Then we're going to do a little practice, then we're going to learn a little bit more, then we're going to do a little more practice. So it's going to be bouncing back and forth. So that's a little bit different, okay? You will still get points. I will still be using my yellow slips. I will still be giving points for notes and classwork. You just have to make sure you have everything that we've done together in that one section. Any questions about that so far? Okay, we are also going to start using a new resource. I'm going to hand this out to you in a moment. If you would look up here. This is a packet. It's called 40-Day Countdown. Okay? It is a pretty thick packet. You are going to treat it like a textbook. You treat it like a textbook. You do not write in it. Now, this is one new copy that I have. Most of them are copies that have been used pretty heavily. And the front cover might rip off accidentally. The back cover might rip off accidentally. Excuse me. If it does, it's not a big deal. Just tell me. I don't want any of the pages lost, okay? You're going to be turning pages pretty frequently. That's fine. Just try to be conscious of the fact that it's just a stapled packet. It's not bound, and you got to be a little bit gentle with it, okay? So there will be one packet for each person. Oh, and one last piece. The first inside page is the reference sheet. You're going to need it a lot. So the first thing I want you to do when you get a packet is to make sure you can find the reference sheet. And I want you to take a look at the front and the back. We haven't spent too much time this year looking at it. We're going to spend quite a bit more. So take one packet, pass the rest behind you. If there's something wrong with your packet right when I give it to you, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get you a different one. So, let me once again take a quick step back and give you a little bit of an overview. We're going to go through a process for about 4 weeks. My expectation is 4 weeks from now, you should feel like level 9 Jedi Master of most of the concepts that you are expected to know in 7th grade. Level 7 and level 8 is no longer good enough. You need to be level 9s in everything. And you need to be able to distinguish between one concept and another. And so you're going to see things mixed together now. For example, I'm going to use Danae as a really good example. We most recently studied proportions. Actually, after proportions, we did some three-dimensional geometry, but she remembered proportions really well. And so the warm-up question, she tried to fit into proportion. And then after she thought about it for a couple minutes, she realized it wasn't a proportional situation. That's the key. And she was able to recognize the difference and then go back and change her approach. My goal for you 4 weeks from now is for you to feel extremely comfortable in recognizing what it is you're being asked and what you can do to achieve the goal. Another major overall goal, if everyone will turn the first page over and look and find the reference sheet. You are going to use the reference sheet so frequently that 4 weeks from now, 1 month from now, you should actually have a picture of the reference sheet stuck in your mind that you could actually almost view exactly where things are. Now, I don't expect you to have things memorized exactly, but a month from now, if I ask you where the Pythagorean theorem is on the reference sheet, you should be able to tell me without looking at it that it's on the back of the reference sheet near the top on the left. Now, you don't have to know what the Pythagorean theorem is, but if you have a question that involves the Pythagorean theorem during the FCAT, you cannot spend 10 minutes trying to find the Pythagorean theorem on the reference sheet. You have to instantly know where to get it and what to do with it. Because look up here. This is what you have to do. 70 minutes for 55 questions. That works out to about 1:18 minutes per question on average. You don't have time. I wish you did have time. Personally, I think you should be given time, but that's not my choice. The state decided that this is the expectation for you. And so no time can be wasted searching for things. You should know it so well, it just boom, you know where to look. If I ask you where the formula is for the area of a triangle, boom, you know it's on the front near the top. Okay? Any questions about that? Good, so now let's get into what we're going to be doing. You're going to do a set of questions. You're going to do 5 questions. When I tell you to, I'll tell you exactly which page to turn to and which questions to do. You're going to do 5 questions and 5 questions only. You need to organize your paper. I don't care if you write your work like this. You can do, you can make a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do the work over here. That's fine. Or if you want to just write question number 1, do the work, and then circle your answer, and then do question number 2. I don't care how you do it, but you need to clearly have your answers written down, and you need to clearly circle your answers. Some of the questions are multiple choice, some of them are gridded response. For the gridded response, you do not use the grids because you're not allowed to write in this. We're going to learn grids a little bit later on. Right now, don't worry about the grid. If it's a gridded response question, just write your answer on your paper. Okay? Are there any questions so far? Here's the last and most important bit, so listen carefully. This first set of 5 questions, I do not care how well you do. You're going to work hard, and you're going to try and get every single question right. You're going to work your tail off. But if you get 3 of them wrong, I don't care at all. You will understand in about 15 minutes why I don't care. But I'm being serious. I don't care. You could get all of them wrong, and I will not care at all. So work hard, do your best. Try to get them all right. But this is not the point of the year where we get stressed out for getting things wrong. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, turn in the packet. It should be just one more page turn so that you see week 1 at the top. Let me show you on my next page. It'll say week 1 at the top, and the bottom of the page will say day 1. Everyone make sure you have day 1. Anyone have any questions about where you are? So, you are going to do these 5 questions, and you're going to have 10 minutes to do it. That's 2 minutes per question. That's more than the time you get on the FCAT. But that's because we just started. A month from now, you are only going to get that much time, 1 minute and 18 seconds. Does anyone have any questions on what you're going to do? 5 questions, 10 minutes. Go. All right. Pick up your colored pens. Here's where things are going to be quite a bit different from what we've done in the past. Well, not this part exactly, but in a couple of minutes. First, I'm going to reveal the answers. You've got your colored pen. Colored pen is required. Mark your answers correct or incorrect. As I said before, it doesn't matter whether you get them right or not. Here we go. Number 1 is B. Number 2 is negative 27. Number 3 is 9. Number 4 is G. Number 5 is C. Now, before we get into the how and what and why, I want to actually just show you the grids. I do not expect you to take too much of this in. I just want to start showing you. This year, you're going to have a grid with a negative symbol in it. So for number 2, if you wanted to grid in negative 27, you have two choices. You have to bubble in the negative sign and put a negative right there. And then you can either put the 27 here and bubble in the 2 and the 7. Or you can put the 27 all the way to the right. You can put the 27 all the way over there. Those are the only two places you are allowed to put the numbers. The negative symbol has to be all the way to the left. You see this special column with it darkened in. So these are the two choices, here or here. I think this makes a little more visual sense, but it really doesn't matter. Now for number 3, you have another negative grid, but this time it's not a negative answer. The answer was 9. In that case, you do not bubble in the negative symbol or put anything there, and then you just put a 9 here on the grid, or you can put the 9 all the way to the right. You can put it here or to the left. So these are the two places where you can put the 9. Again, you didn't have to do this. Excuse me, I'm just showing. Any questions? Good. Now, we are going to go over 4 out of the 5 questions. Even if one person got one of those questions wrong, we're going to go over it. I'm going to be seeking help from my students. Let's start with number 1. I'm surveying for each question. Give me a thumbs up if you got it right. Good. Put your thumbs down. Joali, what did you do to get it right? Very good. Do you have the sums written down? Okay. Does anyone have all 4 sums written down? Chanel, could you tell me, just start with A and just read them down for me? Okay, those are the 4 sums you should have gotten. Very good. And I love the way Joe Alley described what he did. Then he checked to see which one was furthest from 0. I want to make sure we're clear on what this means. We're talking about on a number line. So I did not necessarily expect you to draw a number line, but you have to be able to envision a number line with a 0 in the middle. And where would these numbers be? Well, the 248 would be way over here. The negative 249 would be way over here. And here's where you should be able to see something. This distance is 248 units from 0. This distance is 249 units from 0. And so the 249 units is further away than the 248. And so that's why B was the correct answer for number 1. Does anyone have any questions on how we did this or how we approached it? Good. Number 2, surveying first. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 2 correct. Good. Like to call Corey? Corey and then Gloria. Corey, how did you get the right answer?
I looked at all the numbers and I wrote the correction.
Okay. Could you be more specific?
4 cubed is 64.
Good. I love the way you said that. So, did you rewrite it or did you just kind of keep doing it?
I kept it. I just kept changing the numbers to fit right.
Did you keep writing them down or you just kept it in your calculator? Kept writing it down. So, did you write that?
Yes.
Okay. Gloria, did you take the similar approach?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then, Gloria, from here, what'd you do?
I did 64 minus 10 and 4 minus 6 and
Very good. So you get 54 on top, and you get -2 on the bottom, which of course comes out to -27. One thing I want to make sure you're clear on is what a fraction bar means in a case like this. You actually learned this a long time ago. This is how you could rewrite the question. You do not have to, but this is what it really means. 4 to the 3rd power minus 10 divided by 4 minus 6. The way I taught you was, you don't have to do this, just understand that you simplify the top, simplify the bottom, and then divide at the end. You can't divide in the middle, you have to divide at the end. Okay? So again, I do not expect you to actually write this out. I expect you to understand that this means this. Okay? Comments, questions, concerns? Good, we're doing well so far. Number 3, give me a thumbs up if you got it correct. Wow, a lot of people. Good. Selena, what did you do to get it right?
I did the two-step equation.
Great. First of all, I love the vocabulary used already, so could you tell me what you wrote?
I put 250 plus 79.95 equals 969.95.
Give me a thumbs up if you wrote something either exactly like that or similar to that. Wow, beautiful. Fantastic. I love the fact that she even chose an M for the variable because we're talking about months. That was high level thinking. Beautiful. And I loved how she described it. It's a 2-step equation. Remember, my expectation is that you are already Jedi Master of 2-step equations. You've now seen 3 of them today. The warm-up had 2 different ones, and now this is the 3rd one. Any questions about number 3? Number 4 was ridiculously easy. Number 5 is where we're going to spend a couple of more minutes. And here's where I'm going to start seeing a divide in the classroom. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 5 correct. Good. Yeah, it's about 50-50. Put your thumbs down. Danae, what made you pick C?
Because they sent it to their people, the people that they were surveying, and they're like, most Americans support
Say that word again.
bias.
Okay. So the word bias, even though she didn't totally describe why it's biased, she's right. That's the key. That there is bias in their survey. Now, that's a really hard concept to understand. Is there anyone able to explain what bias is? Start with Paige, Caesar, and then Court.
That's when like you base things off of what you hear instead of your own opinion.
Sort of. I understand what you mean. But that's not totally what bias is. You got a little bit of it. Wait till the end and see if you can rethink the way you said it. Caesar?
When you give information
Okay. Also, you got a little bit of it. Put it together with what she said, and we need a little bit more. Corey? Okay. That's a large part of it. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing really wrong with being biased. We're used to bias being a bad word. We are all naturally biased. So let's come up with some good examples, okay? This will probably clear it up using an example. Can someone raise their hand and give me an NBA team? A team in the NBA. Raise your hand and give me a team in the NBA. Beyonce? Okay. Could someone explain? Does anyone
That's right.
Okay, so could someone raise their hand and tell me how many teams there are in the NBA? How many teams are there, Yadesh? 30. And which one did she say? Out of 30, she picked the Heat. Could someone explain why? She had 30 choices, and she picked the Heat. All I asked was to name an NBA team. Serena?
They won like they won the championship.
Okay.
They live in Florida.
Okay, good. Yadesh?
They went twice and got
Okay, they won twice out of LeBron. Why else? We're in
Thank
Florida. Could someone name another NBA team, please? Another NBA team. Paige?
Wait,
Something like scissors.
Paige's Fantasy Basketball League has the scissors.
it's called. Wait, no.
Celtics.
That's okay.
Clippers.
Yes.
The Blazers, Celtics.
No, Boston Celtics. Yeah.
Celtics.
Okay, Scissors and Celtics.
Really
Very close, very close. Easy to take. Could someone tell us what state or town the Celtics are in?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston, Massachusetts. But I love how you put in the state. Now, let us pretend for a moment that Mr. Gallup can go in his magic machine and get transported to Boston right this moment, ask a question of 1,000 people, and get magically transported back. I'm going to walk down the streets of Boston, and every person I pass by, I'm going to ask them who the best basketball team is in the NBA. Someone raise a hand and tell me, who are they going to say most of the time? Who are they going to say? Lord. Let's try to.
Okay, the Celtics.
Okay, so they're going to actually say the Celtics. If you know anything about people and their hometowns, people feel very passionately about their sports teams in their hometown. And so if I walk down the streets of Boston and I yell out, who's the best NBA team? They'd be like, Celtics, Celtics. Everyone would be yelling Celtics. If I walk down the streets of Miami and I ask, Spurs. If I walk down the streets of Miami and I yell out, who's the best NBA team? People are going to start yelling back, the Heat, Miami Heat, LeBron's number one. Everyone's going to be yelling the Heat. If I walk down the streets of San Antonio and I start yelling, who's the best NBA team? They're going to yell out, the Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs. That's bias. They're geographically biased because that's where they live. Of course she said the Heat. We live in Florida. They're talked about nonstop here in Florida. There's billboards all over the place, commercials on TV, on the news, everywhere is Miami Heat. Of course she's going to say it. She's biased. So now, here's the thing. If I wanted to truly find out what Americans think is the best basketball team in the NBA, and my entire survey was done by asking the students in this class, would that be a fair survey?
No.
So, would I then be able to go on the internet and on my blog write, most Americans think the Miami Heat are the best basketball team. I surveyed 22 middle school students from Millennium Middle School, and they all said the Miami Heat. That means most Americans think that Miami does that. That would be a false statement. You can't do that. And I'm telling you right now, this group of students needs to be especially aware of this. Because you are the bright young people who are going to be leaders. You have to be incredibly conscious of the fact that people are writing things without the proper foundation for making the statement. So this question, the survey that was done in number 5, has a huge problem with it. What is the huge problem? What's the huge problem, Ezekiel?
They only survey 200.
Well, you know what? That's not the biggest issue. You can survey 200 people and still get an accurate survey. Definitely the more the better, but that's not really the big issue. Michael, and then we're going to go back over there.
Subscribers, only from the magazine.
Okay, only from the magazine. Okay. Gloria, what were you going to say?
What did he say?
Subscribers?
Subscribers.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and say it?
Subscribers.
Good. Good. Subscribers. So that is a small issue as well, but there's a much, much bigger issue. It's going to be very eye-opening for you if you did not understand it. Corey?
They also subscribe to Nature's magazines, which make favorable reviews.
Okay. That's the problem. It's not that they asked only their subscribers. It's that the magazine is geared towards people who love nature. And people who love nature know, for the most part, that drilling for oil is bad for the environment. So if you want to get a true understanding of how Americans feel about drilling for oil, and you only ask the people who subscribe to a nature magazine, you're going to get a false result. Because they're all going to say no to drilling. What if the magazine was Oil Lovers Magazine? And we asked them if we should drill for oil. They're all going to say, yes, let's drill for oil. I love oil.
Oil.
There is no magazine called Oil. I hope. So that is the huge issue. The huge issue is the magazine is geared towards people who love nature. That's bias. That's what you have to be very careful of. Here are things to watch out for as you get older in high school and you're asked to survey things. Be careful of surveying only one gender. If you survey only males and you were supposed to be trying to figure out something that involved females and males, that's a huge bias because men and women think differently. Okay? Here was an example that one of your peers in another class had a beautiful example. If a magazine wanted to figure out who's better, high school students or middle school students, and they came to our school and surveyed everyone in the middle school, who's better, high school students or middle school students, would that be a fair survey?
No.
Because we're all going to say middle school, even me. So you have to be very careful about bias, okay? So I'm not saying every question you're going to see today or every question that you see like this is going to have to do with bias, but this is a huge red flag, a huge thing to watch out for, okay? Does anyone have any questions about that? All right, let's go back to here. And now you need to write down your percent. It's very simple. You should already know what the percent possibilities are. It's going to be 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100. Now, I am not going to survey the class to see how we did. I told you before that it doesn't matter how you do on this first set of questions, and now you're going to find out a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take, but now you're going to find out why. Now you're going to get another chance. Everyone turn the page in their packet. Everyone make sure it says week 1, day 2. Week 1, day 2. Pay attention. Everyone write down on your paper day 2. And now you are going to have 8 minutes to do 5 questions. The 5 questions are going to look very familiar. They're not the same, but there are a lot of similarities. And so now I want to see what you just learned. Does anyone have any questions on what you're going to do? All right, actually I'm going to put 7 minutes on the clock. 7 minutes for 5 questions. Go. All right, colored pens up. Let's see what we learned. Number 1 is D. Number 2 is negative 90. Number 3 is 8 months. Number 4 is H. And number 5 is D. This time, I want you to write your percent first before we go over anything. It's very simple. It's going to be 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100. And now I do want to know how my whole class did. Give me a thumbs up if you got 80% or better. Outstanding. Put your thumbs down. Are there any questions on any of these? Questions on any of them? Number 1 is where I got a lot of students tripped up. It is a little bit difficult. One key word is the word difference. Could I have a volunteer remind us what the word difference means in a math class? Chris? It means subtraction, but the confusing part is, how do you subtract? Do you do negative 58 minus 85, or do you do 85 minus negative 58? Does anyone know which one you're supposed to do? Which one are you supposed to do, Isabella? Yeah. When you calculate a difference, you start with the last number and you subtract the beginning number. That's how you find a difference of something. It's just naturally the way it works. Now, how do I do 85 minus negative 58? How do I do that? You learned that way back at the beginning of this year, and you probably learned it last year with Ms. Cooper if you were fortunate enough. Yudesh?
When you subtract a negative, it turns into a positive. Like you're adding it together, and it becomes
Very good. Does anyone have a little phrase to help you remember how to do that? Joali? Draw a line, change the sign. Or there was another one that I tended to use more often, Chris. Keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. 85 plus 58 You got 143. Okay? Got it. Any comments or questions? So now there's two possible goals going into the third try. Third try. You are either trying to keep your score high, or you're trying to improve your score if you got 80%. Okay? The goal is to try and get 100%. Everyone turn the page one last time. You are now going to do week 1, day 3. Make sure you are looking at day 3. Same rules. You're not writing anywhere on this. You're just doing the questions. This time you've got 5 minutes for 5 questions. You may go ahead and begin. All right, colored pens. And for your final time today, let's see how we did. Number 1 is C. Number 2 is -1. Number 3 is 11 months. Number 4 is G. Number 5 is C. Write down your percent. Now, one thing you're going to notice as we go through these lessons is that the questions get a little bit harder as you go through. So while my expectation is your score continues to improve or at least maintain, there are times where you're going to see a question that's harder than the previous one, and you might make a mistake. That's okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. The idea is to continue to improve, though, and to understand and learn from your mistakes. So, give me a thumbs up if you got 80% or higher on this set. Okay? Good. Put your thumbs down. Comments, questions on any of these? We'll start with Caesar.
Number 1, I put 6,487.
I'm sorry?
I put 6,000.
You wrote the number instead of the answer? The letter? That's fine. Not a big deal for that. Yeah. Number 1 in this set of questions was the most frequently mistaken by my students. So the issue has to do with the way you read and understand the question. Now I'm going to draw a picture to represent this, and for many of you it should open your eyes a little bit. So this is going to be the ground. That's going to represent the ground. This is the mountain. And then here is Death Valley. Now I'm going to finish my picture by putting in the numerical information. So it says that Mount McKinley is 6,194 meters tall. So that distance is 6,194 meters. And it says that Death Valley is 86 meters. So what do you think of my picture? It's incorrect. It is? Oh, what's incorrect then?
For Death Valley, it says below sea level, and that's
Oh.
I knew that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So that's below sea level, and yeah, since I drew the arrow down, yeah, you're right, that should be negative 86. That was very impressive that you picked up on that so fast. So yeah, that was the key. So that was 3 words that if you didn't know what those 3 words meant, then likely you got the question wrong because you probably subtracted 6,194 minus 86, and then you got 6,108. But in actuality, you were supposed to do 6,194 minus negative 86. This is what you were supposed to have done. And as one of your classmates explained earlier, keep change, change, you actually end up adding. And that's why you end up with 6,280. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that? Questions or comments? Okay. So we're going to wrap up today's lesson the same way we wrap up our regular lessons, by drawing a line across our paper to denote the final section, which is your homework. You need to copy your homework carefully. For the word countdown, you could write CD, countdown. For week, you could write WK. Countdown week 1, day 4. I will explain how you're going to do that. And then in the NGSSS workbook, we're going to do page A7 to A8. I will explain how you're going to do that as well. Also, you are going to have a quiz next Tuesday. And I will explain how the